The spear weapon was just added to my world, and all the players are excited about it, claiming it's the strongest weapon in the game right now. However, my friend, CH, remains skeptical about its true power. Everyone is excited about some basic features, but no one has actually tested the spear's limits. So, CH immediately updated his game save and prepared to craft a new spear himself, ready to answer a series of questions about it, such as how many creatures it can kill consecutively, the maximum damage it can deal, how many enchantments it can have, and whether it can instantly kill an ender dragon, etc. Of course, in the end, CH also plans to invite his friend for a PvP battle without telling him about this new weapon, to see how the spear performs in actual combat. CH first entered the latest version of Minecraft. The first thing he did was verify the spear's crafting recipe. He picked up 2 sticks and tried to craft it, and the crafting table immediately popped up. It seems it can indeed be crafted. CH guessed that all ores in the game could be used to craft spears, so he brought all the ores, and even raw materials, but found that emeralds and amethyst didn't work. Ultimately, only 5 materials could be used to craft a spear. Naturally, CH wanted to make the strongest diamond spear, and like other tools, the diamond spear can also be upgraded to netherite material. After crafting it, this was Chiz's first time using it. With a casual swing, he instantly killed a creature, an effect that surprised him. Next, he began testing how many creatures the spear could kill consecutively. To complete this test, CH built a super long grass block track in the game, caught a chicken, stacked blocks high, placed a ladder, and tied it with ropes to prevent it from moving. He also adjusted the height to keep the subsequent creatures at the same level, then laid fences all the way to the end. He prepared to put 1 chicken in each enclosure. The process of getting the chickens was simple. The guy took a large number of eggs from his gigantic automatic vending machine. Instead of hatching them one by one, he made a simple device using a dispenser, a hopper, and glass. After throwing all the eggs in, he could mass-produce chickens. These chicks would continue to place orders after growing up, allowing the dispenser to continuously replenish the number of chickens. However, the chicks still needed about an hour to grow up and place orders. The guy used this waiting time to test the next problem. He wanted to know how many enchantments a spear could have. He guessed that if a spear could have the sharpness enchantment, its power would be greatly increased. So he prepared a large amount of lapis lazuli and went to the enchanting table with 131 levels of experience to test it. Surprisingly, the spear could be enchanted with sharpness and looting enchantments. In addition, the guy also discovered a spear-exclusive enchantment called Thrust, which, according to previous information, allows the player to attack while jumping, further increasing damage potential. To gather all the enchantments, the guy made multiple diamond spears and tried them one by one. After 10 minutes, he finally made a fully enchanted, top-tier spear. Testing the power of this spear shocked him. The damage output was unlike anything seen in vanilla Minecraft. Since the chickens hadn't spawned yet, the guy suddenly had an idea to test an interesting question. Could a fox use a spear? He knew this question was a bit absurd, but he still wanted to try it. After all, a fox's mouth can carry things. At first, when he threw the spear to the fox, it didn't pick it up, so he gave it sweet berries to make it hold and eat them, freeing its mouth, and then threw the spear again. It actually picked it up. The guy immediately took it to the chickens to see if it would attack with the spear. Unexpectedly, it ran away at first, but finally, it actually jumped up and attacked the chicken with the spear. At this point, my brother suddenly remembered that foxes in my game world could be tamed. Tamed foxes would retaliate against players who attacked their owners, just like wolves. So, theoretically, my brother could assemble an army of foxes wielding spears. However, he still retrieved the spear from the fox. There were many chickens running around outside the chicken farm. My brother suspected that the eggs fired from the dispenser had gone through the glass, so he rebuilt the enclosure with cobblestone walls. The chickens inside the chicken farm finally started accumulating slowly. Next, my brother prepared to test the most important question about the spear. What is its maximum damage? According to consistent information, the spear's damage is related to the player's movement speed when hitting a creature. The faster the movement speed, the higher the damage. For precise testing, my brother built a special testing ground, using an iron golem as the test target. This is because iron golems can be repaired with iron ingots, allowing for repeated damage tests, and they have high health, making them suitable for testing extreme damage. At the same time, my brother also crafted a spear without fire aspect to avoid fire damage interfering with the test results. My brother tried the first method, attacking the iron golem while running normally. The result was no damage at all. The second method, my brother brewed a strength 2 potion and drank it before attacking, but there was still no damage. The third method, using a speed 2 potion in combination with sprinting, he finally saw some effect after attacking. The fourth method, my brother rode the fastest horse he had previously captured. This horse could run about 14 blocks per second, but after attacking, it still didn't deal much damage. It wasn't until my brother made a splash potion of speed 2 to increase the horse's movement speed before attacking that the iron golem took damage, requiring 2 iron ingots to repair it. The test finally made progress. In the sixth test, riding a camel and using the high-speed charge attack during the camel's jump, the damage increased significantly. In the seventh test, using a normal minecart track for sprinting resulted in slow speed and no damage. So my brother switched to the fastest rail track laying method in the game. The speed looked much faster than the horse, but he still couldn't deal any damage. The next method involved using a bow with a knockback 2 enchantment, shooting himself to propel himself forward and then attacking with the spear at extremely high speed. However, the iron golem only required 2 rotations to recover, and the damage was even less than that of a camel. But the guy wasn't discouraged, believing that the next method would definitely be stronger. He tried charging forward in a boat on an ice path, sliding at maximum speed, then stopping and attacking. The result was only half the expected damage, which greatly surprised him, completely contradicting his predictions. Fortunately, he still had 4 more methods to try, and he refused to believe that none of them could achieve the maximum damage of the spear. First, he used a trident with riptide and firework rockets to fly. He charged forward, using the incredibly high speed of the dive to attack the iron golem. The iron golem only needed 3 rotations to recover, the same as the damage dealt by its headbutt. The next method was using a trident with Riptide 3. This combination, when repeatedly clicked during rain, allows for high-speed flight, far exceeding all previous methods. When attacking the iron golem, he instantly killed it. The iron golem has 50 hearts of health, 5 times that of a player, meaning this attack dealt at least 50 hearts of damage. To further test the spear's damage, the guy used a nether portal to bring a wither skeleton to the testing area. The wither skeleton has 250 hearts of health, 5 times that of the iron golem. After waiting 2 hours for rain, the guy directly attacked the wither skeleton. Although he hit it, he couldn't kill it in one blow. Therefore, he concluded that the maximum damage of the spear was more than 50 hearts but less than 250 hearts. However, he still had one last testing method, which he believed would yield the highest damage. The boat launcher he discovered while testing game travel methods. This simple device, by stuffing a large number of boats into a small space, can propel the player at extremely high speed. He previously found that a launcher filled with boats propelled him faster than the Riptide 3 trident, so he stacked 50 boats, intending to test the spear's maximum damage. However, before that, the device had already accumulated enough chickens, and he could finally test the spear's continuous killing ability. He counted the number of chickens in the enclosure, a total of 186. To make the test more satisfying, he didn't run over himself, but rode his fast horse, charging forward and swinging the spear to attack. The sight of the chickens being knocked away one after another was incredibly stress-relieving. Finally, he calculated using coordinates that the spear had killed 121 chickens in a row. It could actually kill even more, because the continuous killing ability of the spear depends on how long you can swing it. So, as long as the cooldown time hasn't been reached, theoretically, you can kill countless creatures. After the continuous killing test was completed, he began to test the last and most challenging question. Can the spear instantly kill the Ender Dragon with one hit? He prepared to use a boat launcher to propel himself at extreme speed, using the high speed to deal high damage, and he also carried all the materials for the construction device. But when he entered the end, he was dumbfounded. Not only was there no Ender Dragon, but even the central portal had disappeared. He realized that because he had specially updated to an unreleased beta version to play with the spear, his save file was reset and corrupted, and the end was also damaged, and he couldn't even summon the Ender Dragon. Helplessly, he had to start a new save file and continue the test in creative mode. This time, would the end finally have an Ender Dragon? He first knocked down all the Ender crystals to make the Ender Dragon fall down, and then built a boat launcher in a suitable location, carefully avoiding the obsidian pillars that were blocking the way. During the construction of the device, he cleared the area by placing blocks and pouring water, using the launcher to mass-produce boats, and also placed a pile of chests filled with boats, using repeaters and detectors to make the device work automatically. During this time, he was constantly worried that the Ender Dragon would fly over and damage the device, but fortunately, no accidents occurred. After the boat pile was almost complete, he used pistons to push the boats forward and fixed them with glass panes, and also built a simple launch channel. After all the preparations were done, he put on his armor, took the Totem of Undying, and waited for the Ender Dragon to fall down to begin the test. The first time, he was launched too far and missed the target. His ship was completely damaged, and he had to rebuild the device. This time, he enabled collision detection to aim better, but he still kept missing. Even after trying repeatedly with improved aiming techniques, he failed every time. So the guy decided to move the test to the main world, so he could fix the shadow creature in place, preventing it from moving around erratically. After preparing for the attack again, he finally successfully hit the shadow dragon. It disappeared instantly, obviously killed in one hit. The guy tried again, and successfully killed it again. I got bored with the vanilla spears after a while, so I added 16 new types of spears to the game, each with its own unique abilities. Today, my friends and I are going to have a spear tournament to see who is the ultimate spear master. Starting from the spawn point, Brett and I immediately headed towards an outpost, telepathically knowing that whoever got the resources inside first would keep them. Wait, look, John, it's a pink sheep.
Wow, a pink sheep. We're so lucky. Haha, Brett, you took the wrong path. The stuff inside is mine now.
John, leave some for me. No problem, I'll leave you the potatoes. Hey, I want the horns. Of course, I need the horns to make spears. So many pillagers. Bread, take care of yourself. Haha, there's an army chasing Bread. So close, so close. No, I'm wrong. Luckily, I'm smarter than him, and there's no death message yet. It seems Bread escaped this time. What a pity. Time to gather materials to make spears. Wait, I'm hallucinating. Is there another outpost ahead? Great, I need 2 horns. Awesome, my luck is really good. Now let's see what this spear that requires horns is. That's it, the ram horn spear has the ability to summon a familiar. I already have 2 horns. I just need bone blocks and bones. That should be easy. Help me, John. I need 3 cobblestones to make a stone pickaxe.
I always want to jump in the lava every time too.
I need to get some food quickly. John, look at the long spear I made, and the bread below. Is this the original stone spear? Not my new house. I'm confused. I need to find the trial chamber. Wait, why are you digging straight down? Because I guess it's down there. Haha, okay. If you find it, remember to tell me. Now it's time to mine. Soon I made a dripping stone spear. The spear can shoot out dripping stones. It looks very strong. I mined a lot of iron ore, and then I also wanted to make a wind spear. To be honest, if there was a way, I would have thought of everything. Mining diamonds and killing skeletons. Finally I got enough bones and successfully made the antler spear. I used the special ability of the antler spear, and suddenly dust flew up, and 3 skeletons rose from the ground and charged forward. It looks like this swaying and straight line attack isn't very effective. I should go find more diamonds. Great. I actually found amethyst ore. Then I can make an invisible spear. I still need some sand. I have enough iron nails, let's make some pants. This cave is huge, I've already seen many diamonds. I can also go down to the lava pool here. Okay, now we finally have a set of armor. Next, we should go to the nether, because we also need to make this spear. The flame spear can release flames to bombard enemies. Wow, as soon as I came out, it was the Soul Sand Valley. Unfortunately, we don't need bone blocks anymore. What we need to do now is find the nether fortress. Look, it's the magma block we need. Let me make a boat to go down. Just one is enough. Great, it's a fortress. We're so lucky. Come out, flame people. Let me take your flames. That's enough. 2 will do. Now I have a flame spear. Let's go this way and see if we can find the trial chamber. I really want to make a feather spear. 2 more diamonds. Maybe I can even make a diamond set before time runs out. Wait a minute. This wall looks suspicious. Why is it so flat? Let's dig from top to bottom and see if there's a secret hidden inside. Ha, I knew it. Whirlwind man, here I come. Finally found it. Come on. 3 is enough. I'm not going to fight these spiders. Come on, feather spear. Now we have 4 spears we can use. The only spear I still want to get is the heart spear. I remember there's a river near the spawn point. There should be sand there. Time is almost up. Let's go back. Oh no. Why did the time run out so quickly? But it's okay. It will take them some time to come back. I'll just go and dig up some sand. It's right ahead. Let me quickly dig it up and then smelt it into glass. While the glass is smelting, I'll organize my inventory. I can't afford to be clumsy during the battle. The glass is ready. The invisible spear can be crafted. I wonder if its effect is to make myself invisible or to make the person hit invisible. Now I have 5 spears in total. I'm unstoppable. Wait, Little Horse actually made a TNT spear. This thing looks incredibly powerful. Aho is here too. The battle is about to begin. I immediately poke Lil Horse with the invisible spear, but unexpectedly, he became invisible. This spear makes the enemy invisible. Isn't that useless? Don't run. Ajun, let me poke you with the tire spear. Actually, you two shouldn't run. Try this move of mine. What is this? Ha, you guys are already fighting fiercely. Bread, riding his little horse, joined the battle. The scene became chaotic. After all, the spears have various effects. We don't dare to engage in close combat with each other. We only dare to move around, especially those 2 with TNT spears. They're causing explosions wherever they go. Bread's piston spear could push people away forcefully, but my flame spear wasn't to be underestimated either, and my wind feather could even let me fly, making it the perfect tool for escaping. It seems everyone has their own trump card. Aho's sea gold spear, Bread's piston spear, and Little Ma's TNT spear were all very interesting, but a battle is meant to have a winner and a loser. Bread was the first to fall, and we took all his items. What surprised me was that the second one to be eliminated was not Little Ma, but Aho. Little Ma and I fought to the end, and the final victory went to me. The spear is the newest weapon added to my Minecraft world, and as a weapon that can defeat gods, its damage is incredibly high. With extreme speed, it can instantly kill a player wearing a full set of netherite armor. To become the strongest player on the SMP server, I must become a master of every weapon. But at this moment, I didn't know how to maximize the damage of this spear, so I started searching the entire server for a true spear master, until a rumor reached my ears. Legend said that a player highly skilled in using spears was hiding in a cave on the server, and he was my former teammate and partner. As someone who had defeated the world's #1 player multiple times, he was also the first player on the server to master the spear. So, with a skeptical attitude, I went to his hiding place. However, after a year of not seeing each other, he didn't seem to welcome me. Although Main's attitude towards me was cold, fortunately, the rumor was true. Main was indeed the legendary player most skilled with spears. Actually, we once ruled a place called Zamu together. At that time, we even had a team. We two were arguably the strongest partners on the server back then, until Main betrayed me and the entire territory because of money, leading to our falling out. After that, we never contacted each other again. But today, in order to master the essence of the spear, I decided to swallow my pride and seek out Main. However, before I could even explain the purpose of my visit, Main rushed forward, trying to kill me. Only after I explained that I had completely let go of the past did Main stop. When I said I wanted to learn the essence of the spear, Main didn't want to offer me any help. Fortunately, after some flattery from me, Main, whose vanity was satisfied, finally relented. However, to learn the essence of the spear, I had to complete the task Main assigned me. After all this time, Main hadn't changed at all. His life motto is money. He listens to whoever pays him more. However, the supplies in this base are all his wealth, and to obtain supplies, he recently set his sights on a group of players nearby. They are numerous and quite strong, and most importantly, they are very wealthy. So my task is to eliminate those players and help him plunder their supplies. However, their equipment is very good. Main once tried to go alone, and even though he has top-tier PvP skills, he couldn't handle the narrow terrain and their overwhelming numbers, and was almost killed by them.
Facing Main's demands, I started to bargain and asked him to teach me some spear techniques first. Considering our past partnership, Main finally decided to teach me, but
only after I promised to do as he asked. The first technique he taught me was how to use the spear's cooldown to perform quick movements. One of the spear's attack methods is to charge forward a certain distance. However, my current skills are still very clumsy, and I can't perform continuous dashing movements like Main. At the same time, this guy also assured me that as long as I completed the mission, he would teach me everything he knew about using the spear. So, we set off. Soon, we arrived above the target base. After formulating the action plan, we began our operation. According to Main's request, I was responsible for attracting the attention of most of the players, while Main would take care of those who were isolated. Meanwhile, our infiltration of the base was detected by the enemy, and as Main said, these players were very well equipped and their skills were top-notch. However, before I could even take down one player, the entire base surrounded us. Fortunately, our plan was still proceeding smoothly. Because I attracted most of the players' firepower, Main had time to eliminate the isolated players. However, since I wasn't very proficient in using the spear, I didn't manage to kill a single player after a flurry of attacks. On the other hand, Main's spear skills were amazing. As the number of enemy players decreased, the tide of the battle began to turn in our favor. After witnessing our prowess, the remaining players lost the will to resist. Finally, as the battle ended, it was time for Main's favorite part, collecting loot. Clearly, this battle made Main very happy. In his own words, these resources were enough for him to live on the server for several months. After returning to the base, Main began to teach me the key techniques of using the spear. Ordinary people might not notice, but Main's speed of movement with the spear was much faster than mine. He seemed to completely bypass the spear's cooldown time, which was the key skill I needed to learn next. At the same time, through Main's demonstrations and explanations, I gradually began to understand that to achieve the same rapid movement and inflict deadly damage, I had to master the timing of switching spears. Because at the moment of switching, the spear's cooldown would reset. So as long as the switching speed was fast enough, the spear could inflict incredible damage. And to become a spear master, this was a skill I had to master. At that moment, I also felt the need to gain more experience through more practical combat, as practice makes perfect. After understanding the essence of the spear, I thanked Main and invited him to be my partner again. However, Main now only valued wealth, and he had heard some things about me, so he didn't want to fight alongside me. Taking this opportunity, I told Main about the law enforcement legion hunting me down. They not only imprisoned me but also continuously hired top assassins to pursue me. My current goal was to take revenge on the law enforcement legion and kill their leader, Artis. Main, however, showed no interest in what I said. Since Main had been hiding in the mountain cave, he was not well informed about outside events. It wasn't until I said that the law enforcement legion had dominated the entire server and possessed vast wealth that Main began to hesitate. Finally, after some persuasion, he agreed to fight alongside me again, on the condition that after my successful revenge, he would receive all the wealth of the Law Enforcement Legion. However, the Law Enforcement Legion was currently very powerful, and Artis was recently capturing players, so I decided to start by eliminating the Law Enforcement Legion's underlings. Thus, our first target was to eliminate the largest Law Enforcement Legion stronghold nearby and destroy all the law enforcement players within it. During our journey, Main also confided in me that someone had offered him a high price to kill me, but he refused. Hearing this, I was somewhat touched. At that moment, we arrived at a nearby town. Through inquiries, I found that it was run by a group of casual players. Just as we were asking about the location of the nearby Law Enforcement Legion stronghold, the leader of the town suddenly changed his demeanor. It turned out that he had seen my name, Flame, and in their perception, I was the demon who killed 1,000 players in one blow. In their eyes, the Law Enforcement Legion was the one protecting them. Seeing that we couldn't get any results from questioning, Main and I prepared to leave. However, at that moment, the players in the town suddenly started attacking us. It turned out that after learning that I had a huge bounty on my head, they decided to capture me. However, a group of ordinary players were no match for me and Main, and this also gave me an opportunity to practice using my spear. In no time, most of these players were killed or injured. In just 2.5 minutes, all the players who attacked us were eliminated. Looking at the few survivors in the town, Main came up with a bold idea: to have a player go and report to the Law Enforcement Legion. As long as they knew the town was under attack, they would definitely arrive immediately. This method worked. Less than 5 minutes after the player left to send the message, a Law Enforcement Legion member arrived. Dot. However, what I never expected was that this law enforcement player was so arrogant, daring to come alone to arrest us, even claiming that if I didn't surrender, he would kill me. Although he did have some skill, this was simply too presumptuous. Just as I was about to teach him a lesson, the horn of the Law Enforcement Legion suddenly sounded. Only when I looked up did I realize that a large group of law enforcement players had surrounded me and Main. This quickly put us at a disadvantage, because these law enforcement players were different from the previous ones. Their equipment was better, and their combat experience was more extensive. Especially the leader of this group, his defense really took me a lot of time to overcome. Although I took down a few players during the chaotic battle, it wasn't enough to turn the tide. So, Main and I prepared to move to a wider battlefield, a more open plain. It was then that a mistake I made trapped me in an inescapable predicament. Helplessly, I could only dig downwards as fast as I could, but the law enforcement players were relentless, chasing me relentlessly. When Main saw me surrounded, she unexpectedly left me alone. Before I could even get angry, I was captured by the law enforcement players. To avoid being killed, I had no choice but to comply with their demands, taking off all my armor and handing over all my items. Just recently, the game developers updated the game with a new weapon, the spear. Many bloggers claimed it was the strongest weapon ever. So today I'm going to test it to see if it's as powerful as the rumors say. First, I'll craft a spear using the crafting table. I tried several rare ores, but none of them worked. It seems I still need the old materials. So, I'll just craft the strongest diamond spear and then upgrade it with netherite. This gives us a netherite spear. I practiced on some chickens, and as expected, it was a one-hit kill. Now, I'm going to conduct my first test. How many chickens can this spear kill in one hit? First, I'll lay out a long runway and tie the chickens I caught to the fence. But catching them one by one is too much trouble. I went to the automatic harvester and bought several stacks of eggs, then built a simple incubator. Now, I just need to throw the eggs in one by one, and the chicks that hatch will keep bouncing around, hatching new chicks. Isn't this a perpetual motion machine? While waiting for the chicks to hatch, I'll conduct the second test. How much can the spear be enchanted? With my clear stone and 131 levels of experience, I went to the enchanting table. First, mending enchantment doesn't work, but sharpness enchantment does, and looting enchantment also works. There's also a special enchantment called thrust, which is exclusive to the spear and allows the player to perform a thrusting attack. Next, I went back to continue enchanting, spending 10 minutes in total, and finally managed to put all the top tier enchantments available in the current version onto this spear. I checked the hatchery again, and it wasn't full yet. Oh well. Let's start the third test. Let's see if the fox can use this spear. Sounds strange, right? Actually, a fox can pick up things you throw. So what about a spear? This fox was attracted by the chickens, so I seized the opportunity to throw the spear. But unexpectedly, this guy completely ignored it. So I switched to throwing a sweet berry, and this time he picked it up. This little guy is quite picky. I threw the spear again. Maybe because it was full, it was more cooperative this time, and the fox picked up the spear. I released the chickens again, and it immediately rushed over and started attacking them. It seems this test was successful. Since foxes can now be tamed, I wouldn't be surprised if some player creates an army of foxes one day. Next, the fourth test. How high is the spear's damage? The damage of this thing is related to speed, meaning the faster you go, the higher the damage. I built a new test area, and this time the test subject was an iron golem. To easily observe the damage, I also made a spear without the fire enchantment for testing. First, I tried a normal running attack, but there was hardly any damage. Then I tried drinking a potion of strength too, but it seemed to do even less damage than before. This time I switched to a potion of speed too, but it was still only scratching damage. It seems that relying on 2 legs isn't enough to deal significant damage. Let's try riding a horse instead. But this horse is no ordinary horse. It can run 14 blocks per second. Now I'm the Ma Chao of the Chinese server. Who dares to challenge me? I had another good idea. Change the speed potion to a splash potion and splash it on the horse. This time the speed was indeed much faster, and one attack took away half of the iron golem's health. Then I switched the mount to a camel. Many people may not know that camels can instantly accelerate and jump. As long as you seize the opportunity to hit the iron golem at the moment of jumping, I believe the damage will be absolutely explosive. Wow, it has to be the camel. Next, let's test using a minecart and track. The damage dealt by a minecart on a regular track is no different from running, so let's try using a curved track. Leaving aside other things, this speed is definitely faster than all the previous methods, and I believe it can instantly kill the iron golem. But the damage dealt surprised me greatly. It only reduced its health by 1%. I tried again, and the result was the same. Remember, minecarts are not effective. Now, let's try using the kinetic energy from an arrow's rebound. This is a bow with knockback too. After shooting myself with it and using the rebound speed, it dealt 2 hits of damage. Not bad, better than I expected. Let's try another method. This time, I'll use an ice boat. I don't need to say much about the speed of an ice boat. It should be able to instantly kill the iron golem. I built a long track to accelerate, and when the speed reached its maximum, I switched to a spear. To my surprise, such a high speed only dealt 2 points of damage. I thought I could instantly kill the iron golem. Next, let's try the flying speed of the trident. To accelerate, I deliberately flew very high and then dived down. At this moment, I was like a hunting eagle, but the damage dealt was only 3 points. Undeterred, I thought I hadn't done it well, so I tried again, but it only dealt 2 points. What the heck? It's not even as good as a regular attack. I'm going to try using the trident with Riptide 3. I believe this time the damage will be explosive. After waiting for 3 hours, a heavy rain finally started. At this time, I continuously threw the trident, and the speed increased. I felt like a large vehicle slamming into the iron golem. Something's wrong. Let's try again. I must have switched weapons too slowly. After trying again, I successfully killed the iron golem instantly. Now that the combat test is over, I'm going to try to see how many chickens a spear can kill. The most troublesome part of this process was arranging these chickens. After a long time, I finally got all 186 chickens lined up. But before the test, I'll guess that I can probably kill about 50 or 60 chickens. How many do you think I can kill, guys? Okay, without further ado, let's start the test now. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. My spirits are really sinking now. This is so stressful. I actually killed so many chickens with just 1 hit. But how did these 2 little guys escape? Never mind, let's send them to join their friends. I did a quick count, and that 1 hit actually killed 121 chickens. I'm incredibly lucky. Now there's one last test left, to see if this spear can instantly kill the Ender Dragon with 1 hit. To complete this ultimate challenge, we need to use a catapult. The principle is to use a pile of boats as a launcher to instantly propel a person away. This is exactly the same as the spear's attack method, the faster the speed, the higher the damage. After preparing all the building materials, I went through the portal. But when I arrived in the end, I was stunned. Where did the Ender Dragon go? Is it because I'm playing on a test server? After all, the spear hasn't been officially released yet. Never mind, I'll just create a new game, then switch to creative mode. After entering the end, I destroyed all the crystals, then hollowed out an obsidian pillar and built the catapult device inside. The more boats, the faster the speed. I put about 200 boats inside. Then, after enchanting the spear, I activated the device and aimed at the Ender Dragon and launched. Unfortunately, I didn't hit it. I tried several more times, but each time there was a huge deviation, and the boats in the device were scattered everywhere. Helplessly, I had to bring the Ender Dragon to the overworld so it wouldn't fly around anymore. I aimed carefully at the Ender Dragon. This time I can guarantee a hit, but when I looked back, the Ender Dragon had disappeared. Was it instantly killed? I decided to try again, this time generating 2 dragons. The game recently updated with a brand new weapon, the spear, and everyone is saying it's the strongest weapon in the game. But this guy was curious and wanted to see for himself how powerful it really was, so he decided to test it personally and uncover the spear's true limits. The guy immediately updated the game version, unlocked the spear crafting recipe, and prepared to verify several interesting questions one by one. For example, how many creatures he could kill consecutively, the highest damage he could inflict, the maximum number of enchantments he could apply, and even whether he could really one-shot the Ender Dragon. Of course, he also planned to invite his friend for a PvP match, and that friend didn't know that he already had the new weapon. After entering the new version, the guy first verified whether the spear could be crafted. He tried using 2 sticks with different ores and found that 5 materials, raw stone, iron, gold, and diamond, could be used to craft a spear, but emeralds, lapis lazuli, and amethyst could not. Finally, he chose to craft a basic diamond spear, then upgraded it to the netherite version, and unexpectedly achieved a one-shot kill on a creature on his first try. First time ever using it. Quickly see how it does. What the heck? After successfully one-shotting a powerful enemy, the guy began testing the spear's continuous killing ability. He built a super long grass fence path and used an automatic spawning device to mass-produce chickens and fix them in the channel. Through a combination of dispensers, hoppers, and observers, the eggs continuously hatched, and after just 1 hour, the fence was filled with chicks, preparing for subsequent tests. While the chicks were hatching, the guy continued to answer the next question. How many enchantments can a spear have at most? Question mark. With 131 levels of experience and a large amount of lapis lazuli, he began to enchant the spear. Unexpectedly, the spear couldn't be enchanted with mending, but it could be enchanted with looting and sharpness, as well as his exclusive enchantment, and it supported jump attacks. After 10 minutes of repeated experiments, he successfully created a fully enchanted spear with greatly increased power. During the testing process, he also had a whim and wanted to see if a fox could use a spear, since foxes can hold items in their mouths. So he first fed the fox sweet berries to clear its mouth, then handed over the spear, and sure enough, the fox successfully held the weapon. After waiting near the chicken coop, the fox immediately launched an attack. The tamed fox even retaliated against the owner's enemies like a wolf, demonstrating that forming a spear-wielding fox squad is entirely feasible. Next was the question the guy most wanted to figure out: the maximum damage value of the spear. He knew that the spear's damage was related to the movement speed during the attack. Theoretically, the faster the speed, the higher the damage. So, he set up a testing ground in an open area, using an iron golem as the target. He even specially prepared a spear without flame enchantment to easily observe the pure damage. Test 1. Normal running attack, no damage to the iron golem. Test 2. Drinking a potion of strength 2 before attacking, 195 ineffective. Test 3. Drinking a potion of swiftness 2 and combining it with a running attack, speed increased, but still no damage. Test 4. Riding the fastest horse, able to run 14 blocks per second, the attack was still ineffective. Test 5. Giving the horse a potion of swiftness 2 before attacking, this time it finally worked. Repairing the iron golem required 2 iron ingots, finally making some progress. Test 6. Switching to camel attack, the camel's jump attack was more powerful. Repairing the iron golem required 3 iron ingots, the power increased significantly. This felt amazing. Test 7. Attacking on a minecart track, ineffective on a normal track. Switching to the highest speed track, the minecart speed was faster than the horse, yet still no damage, leaving the guy completely confused. Test 8. Using an attack with knockback 2 on himself, using the recoil to sprint and attack. Although the sprint distance was very long, it only caused the iron golem to lose 2 hearts of health, less powerful than the camel attack. Test 9. Attacking on ice with a boat, the ice accelerated the boat speed, but he couldn't take out the spear while rowing, so he lengthened the ice track, accelerated, and then attacked, but the result was still only 2 iron ingots of repair amount, worse than the previous test. Test 10. Using an elytra combined with rocket flight for an attack. Although he flew extremely fast, all speed was lost upon landing, and the damage caused was only 3 iron ingots. In the Camel Club, Test 11 involved a combination attack using the Celestial Thorn and the Triple-Pronged Spear. The Triple-Pronged Spear, even in rainy weather, significantly increased flight speed. The result was astonishing. It instantly killed an iron golem. Keep in mind that an iron golem has 50 hearts, 5 times the player's health, so this power is outrageous. Then, the player brought in a volunteer, a guardian, to test if it could be killed instantly. The guardian survived, indicating the spear's damage was over 50 hearts but less than 250 hearts. Next, he tested the maximum number of kills in a single hit, wanting to see how many mobs it could kill at once. The Results showed it could kill one mob instantly, demonstrating incredible power. However, the player wanted to challenge himself with a final test method, the entity compression launcher. The principle is to stack a large number of boats in a confined space. Stepping on them causes them to be instantly launched, at a speed even faster than the triple-pronged spear. This time, he decided to experiment with the Ender Dragon. He built a launching device in front of the dragon, enclosing a small area with walls of end stone, then filled it with water. He continuously stacked boats using dispensers and hoppers. The more boats, the faster the launch speed. He used repeaters and observers to automatically replenish the boats, pistons to secure the entities, and built a launching channel. For safety, he wore enchanted armor, held a totem of undying, and waited 6 minutes until enough boats were stacked and the Ender Dragon landed. He tried several times, but either missed or the boats were damaged. Finally, the player decided to conduct the test in the overworld, so the Ender Dragon wouldn't fly around erratically. Although the overworld doesn't have the Ender Dragon's health bar, the dragon instantly disappeared, indicating it was indeed killed in one hit. Subsequently, he summoned 2 Ender Dragons simultaneously, and they were also instantly eliminated. Then, he summoned 5 Ender Dragons. Although they were scattered, they were all instantly killed, a truly unbelievable scene. Finally, my friend reached the final stage and invited his friend Kyle to play. But Kyle had no idea that my friend had a spear in his hand. Without a doubt, my friend won using a combination of a pointed stick and the spear. After the game, he let his friend experience the power of the spear, letting Kyle personally feel that this weapon is currently the most powerful weapon in the game, even surpassing the heavy hammer. And this powerful weapon is linked to speed. The faster the speed, the higher the damage. Whether it's a player wearing netherite armor or a powerful monster, they will all be instantly killed with one blow. As the only god tier weapon on the server, my goal is to be the first to craft the spear and dominate the server with it. However, considering its special nature, the recipe on this server has been enhanced, from 1 diamond to 576 diamonds, which is a whole 64 diamond blocks. Good heavens, if we don't cheat, we'll be mining until the end of time, or maybe even get banned directly. But we weren't the only team facing this awkward situation. Other teams were also struggling to some extent. The problem is, the player in our team who got banned was our technical expert. My friend and I were running around in circles. That's when he suggested we use TNT to bomb the mine. That's actually a great plan. My friend is a very skilled redstone expert, so building a bomber should be a piece of cake for him. Thinking of this, we immediately started collecting resources. My friend took me to a huge mushroom island, where his secret base was deep underground. A simple bomber had already been built there. We tried it out. Although it worked, the efficiency was still too slow, and time was running out. At my urging, my friend built several more bombers. Then, I noticed he built another different machine, with the words, "Pull the lever, get in the minecart," written on it. I tried it. I activated the machine, and in an instant, all the bombers started running simultaneously, and the device under my butt revealed its true form. It was a small airplane. It simply moved along with the bombers in front. This little thing was quite fun. Thanks to my friend for the plane. The bomber plane was operating automatically. I just needed to keep an eye on it. I left the plane there and went back to the ground to gather intelligence, but I unexpectedly made another discovery. I saw a player wandering around nearby. What was he doing in such a desolate place? Could he have discovered our plan? I approached him, pretending I was there to trade with the villagers, and then asked him what he was doing there. He said he was there to train a horse. A good horse was essential to unleash the power of the spear. I rode it and tried it out, and the horse was indeed very fast, so I asked him for it. But he not only refused but also dared to attack me. How could I tolerate that? I fought with him until dawn, finally taking him down. It wasn't because he was strong, but because he had too many resurrection totems. I felt like I used at least 10 resurrection totems to defeat him. Then, I hid the horse. But what I didn't know was that this battle had brought me big trouble. After waiting for several more days, I finally gathered enough diamonds. The plane dropped them off and then went offline to rest. I synthesized these diamonds into diamond blocks, and just as I was about to craft the spear, I heard an explosion. Had the bomber plane been left on? I went to check, but everything was normal. Just then, more than 10 invisible players suddenly appeared in front of me, startling me. Where did these people come from? I knew I wasn't their match, so I didn't choose to fight them. Instead, I quickly grabbed all the diamonds and ran away. Then I went back to the ground and quickly crafted a spear. At this point, the only divine artifact on the server was in my hands. I mounted my horse and began searching for the player's Zhongji. Just then, a phantom orb flew towards me. I quickly charged forward and instantly killed the player. The spear was incredibly powerful, but before I could continue showing off my skills, the remaining 2 players killed my horse. Now my advantage was gone, and I could only choose to keep running. I traveled to the ice biome and built a boat. I had a good plan. Use the boat's Chong sea speed to attack the enemy. This trick worked, and I instantly killed another player. But the remaining player was smart. He didn't dare fight me on the ice, but my situation was dire. My armor was almost shattered. I was about to pick up the loot from the recently deceased player when I unexpectedly found a trident, a truly pleasant surprise. With it, my spear could unleash even greater power. I moved the battle to the plains, where the field of vision was wider and there were no obstructions. I aimed at the enemy and thrust my spear, but unfortunately, although it hit hard, it didn't kill him instantly. Maintaining distance, I attacked him again, this time successfully taking him down. This battle made me fully realize the power of the spear, and this was only with the trident. Wouldn't it be even more powerful with the trident of the Riptide? Unfortunately, I could only dream about it, because on this server, the Nether is a sealed dimension. Anyone who enters will be kicked out of the server. So, is there any way to get the trident of the Riptide without killing the Ender Dragon? I searched online and finally found this tutorial. First, throw out the Ender Pearl, and then the power of the explosion can teleport you thousands of blocks away. This distance is almost enough to teleport from Dragon Island to the Nether. Plane and I quietly activated the Nether portal. After entering the Nether, we avoided the guards and came to the edge of the island, then began building the teleportation device. During this process, Plane accidentally fell down, but luckily, he managed to climb back up using the water elevator. It was a close call. Then, we activated the machine and waited 2 minutes. If the teleportation failed, we would quickly return. Time passed in tense anticipation, but thankfully, with 16 seconds left, Plane and I successfully completed the teleportation. We quickly found the Nether fortress, took the trident of the Riptide inside, and then put all the treasures in the Ender chest. Plane and I returned to the main world by committing suicide. Wielding a long spear, and now. The following is a string of garbled text, and the final result was that the older brother wiped out the entire group. I have to say, the older brother's skills are pretty good. That feeling of impact when the spear hits the flesh is something that players who play Machao will understand.